Well, telecom companies are rolling out new measures today designed to reduce those relentless, irritating phone calls by scammers. Calls that sound a little bit like this.
Can you, first of all, stop crying and just get the pen and paper?
This is Officer Jonathan Knight from Revenue Canada.
An arrest warrant has been issued under your end due to the matter of tax evasion and tax fraud.
Well, many of the calls, as you are probably no doubt familiar, purport to be from government agencies such as Revenue Canada or Service Canada. Others offer services such as duct cleaning. The fraudsters usually demand some kind of payment, often in threatening tones, and it works. Phone scammers have cost Canadians more than $24 million this year. CBC senior technology reporter Thomas Daigle has been tracking the complaints and the new measures that are in effect as of today.
Sadly, John, even today, tomorrow, the next day, you're still going to be getting those fake calls from Revenue Canada, Service Canada, the police in some cases. This is not going to stop all scam calls, but it's going to target a very specific category of scam calls. I took a screenshot of a caller ID I got on a call last week. This number included a letter. It started with V205. That is exactly the kind of fake caller ID number that this new technology being rolled out now is going to block. It shouldn't even make it to your phone. Numbers with letters in them, numbers that are all zeros, or numbers with more than 15 digits. The problem, of course there's a problem, I tried it out this morning. It doesn't work perfectly yet. I used spoofing software that can be found online to try to place a call from a number with more than 15 digits. It showed up on the caller ID as only having 15 digits. So the number the call still went through. So it's not really going to make a difference in this case for the person receiving the call.
My next guest, a cybersecurity expert and author of the Canadian Cyber Fraud Handbook. Is there anything that the rest of us consumers can do in the meantime, as these various plans get sort of put in place, that we can do to stop at least some of these calls from waking us up or calling us during dinner?
Right. Well, one of my best pieces of advice is to treat it like spam. I think a lot of us have been used to seeing spam in our inboxes over the past year, and we've seen that some of them are just obvious, right? If you don't recognize who's writing, or if you see broken characters in the subject line, or if anything suspicious about it rings a bell, you can delete it right away. And therefore, the equivalent would be just don't answer the phone. In some cases, you will open a spam message just in case it might be from your bank. And then it becomes obvious because it looks like an urgent message that says your bank account might be closing. And so that kind of phishing messages, we're kind of used to that. And we can easily hang up on them if we think along those same lines. Again, over the past decade, we've heard all sorts, and we know that these robocalls and these scammers are calling, and sometimes we pick up the phone and there's a 3-second delay after you say hello. Well, it's usually safe to hang up at that point. So I agree with Jeff from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, who said just hang up. In many cases, I will let it simply go to voicemail and pick it up 5 minutes later or at my convenience. It can't be that urgent that if I don't recognize a number, I'm going to miss out on some huge opportunity. Or in my case, be deported, as I've received calls to threaten me with deportation. And I said, to where exactly? And they said, well, never mind that, we're going to deport you. So treat it like spam, ignore it, delete it, hang up on these callers, and whatever you do, don't call them back if you suspect that they might be fraudulent.